Okay, let's get into this beautiful book. I'm having so much fun doing these pages and I hope you're enjoying it too. So, story time. You open the door to find a huge paint spill all over the floor. To make an even bigger mess, draw the shapes you see in the paint. Okay, so I am going to be using my Uniball Signo white gel pen, and thank you everyone who has given me tons of recommendations for white pens because I've really struggled in the past. So far, I'm loving this one, except for the size. I'm sure you can probably get smaller ones, but for right now, it is opaque enough that I am just having a good time with it. So I'm very happy with these. Now, I didn't know about the shapes that I should be drawing. I wasn't sure if I should draw animals or specifically just shapes. I mean, everything is a shape technically, if you want to get technical, but anyways, so here I am drawing a bunch of random things. I saw a lot of lips in there and some fish and one of those big gulper eel things, a clam here. So I'm just doing a bunch of random things. And again, I didn't want to do the basic black pen because I don't know. I thought the white would be a nice difference from the last one that I did, and I'm pretty sure there's more of these in the future of this book, so I just wanted to switch it up with the white, and I am really happy I did that. I think it looks pretty decent overall, I would say. And then, yeah, I just wanted to do more shapes here and there and just adding different lines and all that, just to give it a little bit more of depth and, I don't know, a variety of fun. Let's just say that. So here I am doing that, and it was a good time, and I'm happy with the results overall. I mean, the lips and the fish, that combo there, not super pleased with it, and it does look kind of weird. I don't know what was happening there, but I just couldn't get what I was really trying to get out of it, but it's all good. I still had a lot of fun, and I still think it looks pretty decent considering. I definitely base this more on a sea theme, I guess you could say, with the anchor here and the clam and the fish and all that stuff, with some random lips. I don't know, but let's go with like maybe the balloon blow up floaty lips or something like that. I don't know. I'm sure that they have something like that. They have a bunch of random floaties. So we'll just go with something like that. And yeah, I just did random squiggles here and there, and yeah, just added some more texture to the piece, and yeah, I just had a lot of fun. And then of course I had to fill the paint tube. I didn't want to leave it completely uncolored. So here I am just using a bit of a blue, and that's about it. And now it's time for story time again for the next page. Whoever owns this place is incredibly untidy. Art supplies are scattered all over the place. Color them in your favorite colors. My favorite colors. I'm actually going to use my favorite art supplies in general to fill up this page, which will result in some tweaking, but here we go. So the fine liners that I have chosen are the Faber-Castell, which is one of my top favorites. Doesn't really matter on the size, but I do like the brand, and I think that they work really well. And so I'm just going to be coloring it in and changing the shape a little bit. And then I realized how awkwardly I like slanted this fine liner. So I don't know. Don't ask questions on it. It's just how it went. And then I used a Posca white pen to fill in the Faber-Castell label on there and called it a day. With the eraser, I love the kneadable eraser. I actually did not like these in the past, but now I actually have a fine appreciation for them. And you can see how used this one is, so that will tell you something. But anyways, yeah, I didn't really want to change the full shape of the eraser per se, but if you want to get really technical, I could probably shape the kneadable eraser into this eraser there. So that's what I consider to be good enough. Next up, we have the paint on the top here, and I'm going to be using the golden brand that I enjoy, and I also really like the medium magenta color. I think it's so pretty. Not that I ever use pink in a lot of the things that I do, but I wish I did. Okay, like pink is my favorite color for accessories, for things like that, but yeah, I don't actually use it enough in paintings, but hopefully one day. It's a dream. This is like the ideal dream of Mallory in the future, is to enjoy using pink in paintings. Don't ask questions. Just don't ask questions. But as I'm doing this, I do need to fix the tube a little bit, get rid of that little paint label and change it into the golden labels. So that's what I did here. I used the black and added that. And then of course I needed to wait for the paint to dry. So here I am adding in the gob of paint, and I'm going to use the color, obviously the magenta here. And I didn't want to use that like typical spat that was there, so I kind of just changed the shape, and it kind of left it a little bit more gobby for the texture as well. And then of course with the paintbrush, I just used one of those typical basic paintbrush styles with the wooden handle and then the silver top with the, the bristles on there too. So that was just a quick see there. Didn't do anything too fancy. Then of course adding a golden label to the paint tube. Moving on to the next fine liner, it's one of, I don't think I actually showed it here, but it's the Sharpie pen fine liner. And I always find myself grabbing for this one. I don't really know why. Maybe because it is the size, but I don't know. I feel like it just works really well for me and I've had it for quite a long time. So I don't know, consider that a win. So I'm of course changing the little design on this fine liner and kind of covering it up a little bit with the wording and changing it into the Sharpie pen. Now moving on to the big acrylic paint tube here, and I'm going to be using my M. Graham & Co. paint. I actually really like these. I have a few of them. They're cheaper in price and yet the quality is pretty decent. The ultramarine blue, I really like that color. And also because you could just like use it in so many different ways and like lighten it and darken it, blah, blah, blah. So I don't know. This is usually one that I grab for, as you can see with how much of the tube is actually used. So yeah, just looking at the tube here, I'm going to change the top of the, what is that thing called? The lid. A lid? Sure, the cap. Anyways, change that to the white, and then I'm going to add in the blue lines on here. And then I'm going to do the paint spatter of the blue here, and then using this brush with the blue paint as well. And you'll see me changing up the acrylic paint. I'll paint over that with white to get rid of that, and going to be adjusting it to look more like the tube itself. One of my favorite pencils to use is the Faber-Castell matte graphite set, and this is my 14B here. As you can see, it is very, very loved, and I need my pencil extender. Here's an example of what the pencil actually would look like, so that's what I'm going to model this one after. And of course 14B is my favorite of the sets because it can get so dark, and I just love that. And then I'm using my Sim Taps to do the gold part on there as well, which I thought was a nice touch by myself. Good job, Mel. Good job. And of course I love using my Prismacolor light blue pencil that is erasable. So that is one of my top ones. You see me using these two pencils a lot, I'm sure, if you've watched any of my other videos. Moving on to the two crayons, I'm going to be using Crayola, the Tickle Me Pink and the Robin's Egg Blue. Now, these are obviously very loved by my children because one of them is broken. And yeah, I have nothing else to say about that. At first I was just going to color them in and kind of leave them a little bit boring, but then I was like, no, I can easily change this wording to say Crayola actually on it. So I'm going to do that and add the little designs on them as well and just be pretty simple with it. And then I will also use my gel pen to cover up and change it into the actual L for Crayola. I definitely find myself grabbing for these two colors whenever I'm actually using these and coloring with my kids. And yeah, pink and blue. I don't know. I just really like pink and blues. So as I'm writing ultramarine blue for the paint tube, I want to use the M. Graham actual signature and try to copy that because I'm pretty sure that's illegal. But so I just kind of scribbled as if it was looking like that and then added the rest of the stuff. Overall, I think the paint tube turned out really well. So moving on to the watercolor tube here, I didn't want to change the full shape, but I did just change the label again, and I'm using Danielle Smith. Is it Danielle or Daniel? Man, I should probably know that. Anyways, I'm using the oh no, I chose a really hard color to say. The quinacridone, that's right. The quinacridone rose color. I find myself using this color a lot. I really, really like it. Again, I like the pinks and blues. What can I say? In hindsight, when I was doing this watercolor blob here, I probably should have covered up the black because, well, you see it through the watercolor, obviously. Okay, for the oil color tube. So I've been really into the Milan art tubes. If you've seen my unboxing video, actually no, those wouldn't have been in the unboxing video because those were all acrylics, but I do have the oil set as well. And I really, really like these paint tubes. The opacity of these, the transparent, like I just like the way that they're labeled. I like how pigmented they are, and yeah, they just are really, really nice. And this is the Opus Pink. I don't think any other company actually makes Opus Pink, so this is their own kind of color. But yeah, so I'm basically just setting up the tube for when I can paint over the white there. Going back to the watercolor, I'm just adding the new label and design on there, and I think it turned out pretty cute if I say so myself. And then I obviously have to set up the palette a little differently because I'm not going to add all of these colors. What's the point when I'm using my own 3 colors here? So with this oil tube, it's actually pretty hilarious because you can't cover oil paint with like water-based materials or like acrylic materials, like it just won't stick. So this is just for aesthetic reasons for y'all because it's not actually going to stay, I don't think, but I will cover it with a Uniball pen just to do the WT in there. But I don't think that that's actually, it's definitely not the process to use, and it's not actually going to stay. So there is that. And I apologize, I am jumping all over the place with these things as I'm waiting for stuff to dry, but I just kind of wanted to show the actual process rather than just, you know, doing one thing at a time, because that's really not accurate. You do actually have to wait for things to dry, you know, so I just wanted to be truthful and transparent with that. So I'm going to be jumping into the washi tape here, and I'm going to be using Mira Byler's washi tape. It's the avocado one, and I think it's so cute. But yeah, so this stuff is actually almost gone, which I'm really sad about. So I try to use it sparingly, but it is one of my favorite washi tapes to use. Now, if I ever wanted to actually order stuff from her again, which I do keep an eye on her things, but also I live in Canada and the exchange rate and everything is just a garbage. So yeah, I'm just doing a very basic, you know, not super detailed for this washi tape because it is so small, and actually coloring in these avocados was really difficult for how small it is. So anyways, I think it turned out pretty cute and adorable, and you get the point. So there's that. So I'm actually going to use the colors on this paint palette and paint on this little mini canvas here. I'm not going to do anything extravagant because I'm not going to make a little masterpiece on this, but I wanted to get the point that I was using these colors and blending them and making a pretty purple and this and that. So I obviously did not use the oil. Note on that. Next, I'm just going to do one of those like classic watercolor paint palettes here, kind of a cheap one that you can get from the dollar store, adding purple, blue, red, yellow, green, and orange. And here is the final page, and I think it turned out really well. I'm really happy. I'm glad that I did do the transitions of the products, so I think it turned out really good. Moving on, story time. Continuing your journey, you go back outside and find a bike. Make it as tacky as possible with mismatching colors, then steal it and ride off to the next page. Oh boy, okay, so for this, my mindset is, okay, if I want to make it tacky colors, I should just not try, because I always end up making things looking tacky. But in my mind, I'm like, okay, I will just use whatever colors without thinking too much about it. I'm going to be using my Himi gouache set here. I haven't used it in a while. I had one of my regular commenters comment on the gouache set and if I liked it or not, and so I thought it would be a good time to bring it out and show what the inside actually looks like, which I will get to in a second. But first, before we open that bad boy, let's get into taping this off. And I'm going to be using, of course, my favorite washi tape. I don't know about anyone else who's left-handed, but is it just me? Okay, tell me if I'm crazy. Should they make washi tape for left-handed people? I know it sounds ridiculous, but just hold on. Hear me out for a second. When you take the tape and peel it, it comes off upside down. Like, look at that. Like, who wants that? No one. Not anyone who's left-handed anyways. So I'm just like, man, I always have to flip it around. I know it doesn't sound like a big deal, but like, it's kind of a big deal and it's kind of annoying. So I always have to flip my tapes to look nice when it has certain designs on it. And that is just my giant rant for the day about washi tape. And so here it is. Oh, it's so sad. I used the last of the roll and I'm a little sad about it. I thought I could peel off this white stuff and maybe there would be a little bit more, but there wasn't. So I have to replace and make it not the same pieces all around the edges. And I'm really anal about that stuff. So, look at this. Replace it with that. Oh, now it just looks so terrible. Oh, get out of here. Anyway, okay, so now here opening up my gouache set, and it's been a hot minute, let me tell you. I think it was since like around Christmas time, so a few months. Oops. But here's the set, and I think it looks pretty good overall. There is cracking, but all you got to do is just, squirt it with a little bit of water and we're good. We're golden. So I'm going to choose this blue color. I didn't really want to do too much mixing on this because, of course, making it tacky colors and mismatching, right? So just starting with the one blue, and of course it's an ultramarine blue. Why wouldn't it be? And here I am just working on the sky. I think it turned out really good, if I must say so myself. And then of course moving on to the lime green grass. And then I'm using a bunch of random colors here. I'm using orange, I'm using pink, I'm using red, and different kinds of pink, different greens, this and that. And I'm thinking like, all right, this is gonna look tacky AF. Can I say that on here? Sure. And I'm gonna do the wheels in brown. It's gonna look horrid. But of course, as I'm doing this and looking at it, I'm like, wait, is this looking somewhat good? What? So here I am thinking I created this tacky bike, but oh my gosh, I actually think it looked really good. Like, is that just me? Someone leave me a comment and tell me if it looks good or if it's just me. I thought it looked good, so I'm like, okay, well, I clearly kind of failed at making it I did make it mismatched, but is it tacky? That is the question. Moving on, story time. You take the bike further down the road and discover an ice cream stand. On the cone, draw ice cream in the flavor of the last thing you ate. So the last ice cream that I actually had was a fudge brownie blizzard, and it was a pretty delightful, let me say. I do really like brownies in ice cream, but I also decided that one ice cream cone, one scoop was just not enough, especially for me, because I like way too many scoops. If I could have multiple scoops. I'm pretty sure it's a game on the Mario Party where they're like catching ice cream scoops. I think it's that game. Anyways, I loved that one. And if I could have an ice cream that tall, that's the dream. It's just the dream. I decided to do 4 scoops of ice cream of the actual flavors that I've had recently. And these cherries, I am sorry, but they are, I do not like these maraschino cherry, whatever they put on top. I like real cherries. These are not real cherries, okay? So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna change it into something else. And something else that I would really, really enjoy, which, surprise, surprise, it would be brownie toppings. Now, don't question me on the shapes that I decided to do here because I don't really know what I was going for, but they are brownies, I'll tell you that. I decided that I would leave the most stressful part of getting it right till the end. I started with the stand first. I wanted to get that out of the way, so I just chose some basic colors thinking that they would all go together, and let me tell you, it looks horrid. So the bike page was me trying to be tacky, and I feel like I did not succeed. This page, I was trying to not be tacky, and I failed. So this means to me that I need to try and be as tacky as possible and make the worst color choices. And then it'll turn out good. And then when I really want to try and do something nice, just do whatever I think is the appropriate colors, and then it'll turn out terrible. So that is my mindset. Here I am proving to myself that I need to try and be tacky so that I won't. And it'll be a great mind switch. But yeah, I use this blue and this yellow, and I'm trying to make it look, I don't know. I don't know what I'm thinking. Just watching it back. And I don't know why I added the yellow to the roof. Like, what is that? What is that? Anyway, it just looks terrible. So the cups on the stand, I'm thinking, okay, ice cream, let's make them milkshake cups, because I don't really know why there would be cups on there. Anyways, so I'm making a strawberry milkshake and a chocolate milkshake. It looks like a mess right now, but it does get nicer. And I did a chocolate chip one. And then yeah, I'm going to add some cute little straws in there, which is why I'm adding those little black dots there. And now moving on to the actual ice cream scoops. So this is the chocolate brownie ice cream that I had first. The next flavor that I'm adding here is a salted caramel, and we have a ice cream store where I live, and man, they make such good ice cream. So this is based off of that because it is chef's kiss. So good. Another top flavor of mine is the classic cookie dough ice cream. I go for this mostly, I would say like 85% of the time, depending on which ice cream place I'm at. But this is my classic go-to. It is so good. This last one that I'm doing here is going to be like a honey vanilla flavor, and it actually has like vanilla beans in it, which is why I'm adding the dark little spots in there to do the beans. And yeah, again, it was from that same ice cream shop that I absolutely love, and it is so smooth and so delicious. I wish I had some right now. And lastly, as I had mentioned, I am making these square, whatever shape these are, into brownies. So I added a light brownie, like chocolatey thing on top there. And of course, some crumbs falling down. I don't actually know if any of this makes sense when I'm looking at it now, doing this voiceover, but it made sense to me at the time, okay? Crumbs falling off the brownies as it's falling. But I think that should be swapped. Anyways, just go with it, okay? And then I wanted to do just a basic simple background, so I decided to just paint it blue to kind of go with the previous page, but of course I used a different blue because it's different paint and yada yada yada, so whatever. I also decided that I wanted to clean up that line work a little bit, but I will save you guys the trouble and show you now. There we go. Oh, it looks so good. I'm so happy with this. I love ice cream, so I mean, anything with ice cream. Sprinkles, no. Cherries, no. But we got past it. Okay, let's do a recap. I had so much fun doing this. Okay, so of course we used fine liners to do all of these shapes in the paint. Next, we changed all of these into my actual favorite art supplies, and I had a lot of fun doing that. We also created a tacky bike, and I think it actually turned out pretty decent, so I failed on that tackiness. And lastly, we did all of my favorite ice creams, and that is it. Let me know in the comments below which page was your favorite, and I will see you guys next time with Draw Your Own Adventure. All right, goodbye. Thanks so much for watching. Bye. Goodbye.